Alright, so after we left Fort Pickens, we made the ride over to Torreya State Park. This is kind of a unique state park in that the way the campground is situated is kind of up on a ridge, way different than what you typically see at Florida State Parks. Normally at a Florida State Park, you're going to be, pretty much at sea level, down in, in the woods, down in the trees. This one was much different. You're up on that ridge, which gives you a very unique view for a Florida campground. When we arrived there, the first thing that we noticed was how destroyed the campground really got during Hurricane Michael a few years ago. During that time period, we actually had a trip scheduled over to Florida Cavern State Park, which is in Mariana, only about an hour from Torreya State Park, and it got destroyed pretty severely during that hurricane. So Torreya State Park looked like much of the same damage that one took. I mean, trees down, there's still a lot of trees down, which kind of takes away from the beauty a little bit. Instead of seeing, big, tall, nice green trees, you have a lot of trees that are blown over. But at the same time, it really gives you an appreciation for the devastation that a hurricane can do, to somewhere like a state park. I mean, trees twisted and ripped out of the ground. I mean, it's still pretty rough. There's a lot of trails that are still closed because of all the trees that are down, and it's just not safe to go on them right now. But overall, still a great park. I mean, our first day there, we knew we were going to have some weather coming in the following day, so we tried to shoot down and take a walk around the Gregory house, which is kind of at the back of the park, down at the end of the cul-de-sac. The house sits way up on top of a hill that overlooks the Apalachicola River. Super windy today. They're calling for some pretty bad storms later on this afternoon and this evening, so we wanted to take advantage of the dry weather anyway and get down here and check out the Gregory house. So it sits up on a ridge that overlooks the Apalachicola River. So we're going to take a walk back there and check out this awesome view.
Yeah, but if the sun came up, maybe Oh, what are they stairs? Stairs again. Hey guys, this is stairs. Hang on. What's that?
It was actually moved from the other side of the river to its current location, which is kind of unique, but a beautiful location. I mean, it sits right up on top of that hill and gives a fantastic view looking out over the Apalachicola River. Again, you know, just something unique that you don't really see in a lot of Florida state parks, to get a view from up high looking down like that.
And they do offer tours of that house if you're interested in doing that. They have the times listed on their website.
10 a.m. is the first one, I think.
During the week, 10 a.m. and then on the weekends, I think they do it a couple of different times.
And something that you're going to want to keep in mind if you go here, the tours start at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the Apalachicola River is the kind of the border between Central Time Zone and Eastern Time Zone. So if you go by your phone, there were times when my phone would be in the Eastern Time Zone, Erica's phone would switch over to the Central Time Zone, and vice versa. But the park is in the Eastern Time Zone, but it's right on the border. So as you start walking through the park, you'll notice that your phone is going to switch back and forth if you have it set to automatically switch between time zones. As predicted, we did have a lot of heavy storms come in. Pretty much our first full day there, we try to get out in the morning to get a little small hike in. The trees are so big and the whole inside of them are all rocked out. It was incredibly windy, and being up on that ridge, there's really no protection from that wind. You're up above the tree line, so there's no protection at all from the wind. It was blowing 20 to 30 miles an hour steady, and then gusting way higher than that at times. And we just kind of sat there in the afternoon and watched this strong line of storms slowly move in on us. Super windy day, super windy day. Winds are probably 20 to 30, gusting higher than that, rocking the trailer all around. We got severe thunderstorms coming in tonight, so we're going to kind of hunker down and ride it out. Keep our fingers crossed that we don't have anything too vicious come through, but definitely in for some rough weather tonight, so we'll see what happens. We joked around and said it was like being stalked by a turtle. I mean, we saw these incredibly strong storms, and it looked like they were right there on top of us, and it took forever for them to actually arrive. But when they did finally get there, they were strong, and it really had us thinking hard about our emergency plan. Should we ever get stuck in severe weather like that, and what we needed to be doing, and places to look for in the campground, bathhouse, things like that would be more sturdy and more secure if we needed to evacuate out of the fifth wheel in case of tornadoes or something like that. So we didn't have to evacuate, luckily.
And we were extremely thankful to see that the storms passed us before dark so we could get a good night's sleep.
Yeah, the original forecast was for these storms to move in around between 10 o'clock and midnight, which nobody would have gotten any sleep at all, between being worried about the severity of the storms and then just the incredibly loud pounding rain hitting the tops of the RV and the slides. It would have been a rough night.
Luckily it moved out and everybody got a good night's sleep before our travel day.
Yep.
Even me.
And we woke up this morning before we took off from there, walked outside to 38 degrees. Boy, I tell you what a difference a day can make. We were sitting here yesterday waiting on these big storms to come in, and they did. I mean, it blew all day long. You saw from the earlier portion of the video that it was nasty. And the storms came through. We were super fortunate. The heavy stuff kind of formed off to the west, and then it kind of dissipated and formed again to the east. So we got a lot of really, really heavy rain, some nasty winds, lightning, but no tornadoes. Thank goodness for that. But I know a lot of people in Alabama were affected by it. A lot of people in Mississippi and some other portions of the Panhandle. So we were very, very fortunate that we didn't have to deal with that. But we were definitely kind of going through our emergency plan for sure. So we knew what we were going to do, you know, if it came down to it, and we had to get out of our fifth wheel. So if nothing else, it really made us think really hard about that. But man, this morning, beautiful. It's 38 degrees. Temperature dropped big time overnight. But this is the view that we're talking about. I mean, you know, you're up on top of this ridge and you can just see forever up here, which is so uncommon, you know, for anything in Florida. It really makes you feel like you're in North Georgia. That's really the feel it has to us. It really reminds us of some of the spots we've been at in North Georgia. As for today, we're getting back on the road. Heading down to Apalachicola River campground, working our way back towards South Florida. So we'll be there for a couple of days. The weather should be outstanding. Really looking forward to visiting that spot down there and seeing what that area has to offer. So for now, we're going to get her packed up, go get that truck warmed up so it's not 38 degrees when we hop in it. So that cold front definitely moved through and pushed in some very, very cold air quickly, because it was in the mid 60s yesterday. Front passed through, and I would say that temperature dropped probably 25 to 30 degrees overnight. I mean, it was very, very chilly. But as for right now, we're all set up at Apalachicola River campground. A little different than where we typically stay, but we'll probably do a little video wrap up on this one too. But for now, we're gonna go get some steak started for dinner, and I think that's it.
And I think the only other thing I would say is if you're into history, Torreya State Park is definitely a neat little spot to stop.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
Yep. The Civil War actually had some guns mounted down on the trail there behind where the Gregory house is now. You can walk down that trail. We walked to the first one, but they had some gun holes there where the guns were mounted so they could kind of guard the Apalachicola River from any enemies that would be coming up and down the river. So yeah, that is pretty unique and kind of neat. Anything else, Dylan?
If you go on that trail, warning, do not bring your kids. That is not like that trail. That was not a trail from the
So Dylan
downhill.
tends to
not a big fan.
be a slight drama queen when it comes to his hikes. The trail is 100% safe. There's no worries there.
It's
it is
downhill.
skinny. It's a skinny trail, and it is on a downhill slope in some places. Dylan's a work in progress with his hikes, but we'll get him there.
I never like the hikes.
Is there anything else about the park that you wanted to
Positive?
mention? Positive?
Positive that you'd like to add?
No, really not.
We didn't spend a lot of time there, but
Yeah, we
was
just had a
neat
couple
little
days,
park.
and our one day was pretty much socked in with terrible weather. But
It definitely reminded us of a park that you would maybe see in North Georgia.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And if you guys ever want to see a new video, just hit the bell, and when a new video comes out, you will be notified. And bye, guys.
all right, we'll catch you guys down the road.